Hi, this is Garibay, and today I'm going to talk about how to properly kill a player character. So why am I talking about this? Because I recently killed a player character in one of my games. So you can go, so this player character kill, which I am saying is the correct way to kill a player character, I feel confident saying this because this player character kill is on the public record. It is on YouTube, on nerdarchy.com. It is in the third session of the 7th edition Gamma World game, which took place in February 2017, and maybe early in March 2017. And the player's name was David, and he was playing a Saurian Yeti in Gamma World. Okay, so now I actually went through this, and actually, it was an experience for the player and an experience for me. Okay, and so I feel confident being able to say this is the correct path because I just walked through it, and I know the path we took to get there, and I've even had a couple weeks to think about it, and I'm confident this is the right occurrence. Okay, so here's what you need to do to correctly kill a player character. You need to one, allow the players to put themselves into a dangerous position, right? And so this happened in the game. They were scouting out a warlord in Philadelphia, and I said, if you send scouts in, you can expose your position. And they said, no problem, let's do it. Their rolls for scouting failed. They exposed their position, and then they were all trapped and surrounded in a building. Okay, and so then at this point, 300 non-player characters, all evil fish people, surrounded my player characters, including David, the Saurian Yeti. And so they're all in position. And first thing that happens is there's a major structural damage to the building. The player characters are all in the building. They can't see out. And so at that point, I said, the building has taken damage and half the roof has fallen down. All you guys take, they all have about 40 hit, maybe about 50 or 60 hit points, and they all take about 10 or 20 right out of the gate, right? So then they get surrounded by 300 of these evil fen creatures. Well, these player characters go to town. They have a lot of crazy weapons, and they have Space Marine armor on. Space Marine from Warhammer 40k. You get all kinds of crazy stuff in Gamma World. Gamma World is a world that is literally created to mix elements of different worlds. So this world has the Riders of Rohan from Middle Earth, and it also has Space Marines from Warhammer 40k. Right? So they have Space Marine armor, so they feel incredibly safe, right? And they are mowing down. In the first round, they killed at least 50 to 100 of these evil fen fish people, right? And so, at that point, I said, okay, hey, I get that you guys are feeling confident, but at this point, the Riders of Rohan, who are your allies, they're trapped in here with you, but half of their crew was outside, still scouting, just like you guys were scouting on a different party. They come back with 8 horses, and they ride in and they say, hey, jump on these horses, let's get out of here. You guys are surrounded. So they call into you from the outside and say, we got the horses, we got the getaway, we got your getaway ride, let's roll, right? Well, the player characters are feeling very confident, even though they're surrounded by dust and they can't really see that much that's outside, right? So they say, no, we're good, we're going to continue, right? And they bypass the escape plan that I gave them, okay? So at this point, I bring out my big gun, which I use an actual screen, and I show these presentation slides saying, here's your current enemy, here's your current enemy. Now, I know what's lower down on the presentation slides. They don't, but I do, right? So I pull up this one presentation slide, and it shows a 30-foot tall Tau battle mech that it has a railgun on it that is not designed to kill player characters. It is designed to crack open battle tanks that Space Marines ride in, okay? So this thing is designed, the weapon that is now pointed at them is not even used for killing people. It's used for, like, breaking down buildings, right? And this came around, this came around the corner, and now it's just being exposed in the second round, right? So their eyes all go wide, which they should have, right? And so I said, okay, here's the deal. There's all these batters with you. Batters are sentient badgers who serve and in our game, these batters serve the Riders of Rohan. They're the allies to the player characters. I said, I'm going to roll this 1d6, right? And if this 1d6 comes up, as a certain number, actually, since there's 4 of you, 1, 2, 3, 4, this attack is gonna go to one of you, right? Which is 30d6, and currently your characters can take about 8d6. Yes, I didn't say this is gonna kill you, but everybody at the table knew it, right? So I said, now if it comes up on a 5 or a 6, it's gonna kill one of these batters, right? And so I rolled the 1d6. It came up a 2, which was David's number. And, and at that point I said, David, I'm going to roll these 30d6 dice. I rolled a dice. His character's got 40 hit points. His Space Marine armor can absorb about another 40. That's 80. The damage that came up on the dice is 120. Your Saurian Yeti is dead. Okay. Now I said, now I shut my mouth for about 10 seconds, and I just let it weigh in. And the reason why is a player character death should mean something. And I felt 100% comfortable with this player death because, one, I warned them of their action to begin with. Then I gave them a chance where they would not be the victim of this horrible killing attack that I was about to unleash. It could have went to one of the batters. So it was a chance that they would escape their fate, right? In addition to that, I had the batters ride up with horses and say, here's your escape plan. Jump on. Let's go. Let's get out of here. And they chose to stay. Okay? So, and then the last part is, when I killed them, I was killing them with a prepared special threat. No player character should ever be killed by a goblin on page 28 of the monster manual. That's just not a good way for a player character to die. And so I was able to point to in my own notes saying, I prepared this special threat. You were warned about it. You were given an escape plan, and I gave you an additional die roll to escape this fate and apply this horrible fate to one of your allies who was not a player character. That's 3 separate ways that this fate could not befall them. But they chose to stay and to fight. Now, that was not the wrong decision. They wanted to be epic and heroic, and you can't do great things and awesome things in a tabletop role-playing game if you're not risking your character's life. It doesn't happen. Great things come from risk. So I think they were 100% right to stay, but the dice didn't come up their way. And so that meant that in an attempt to do something epic happened to them, right? The other issue is I did not choose to kill David. That decision was out of my hands, right? There was a 1/3 chance it was going to go to one of those batters, and I had no ability to control that, right? So that's another thing. So in order to properly kill a player character, you have to give them a warning, multiple warnings. You have to give them an escape plan, and then you cannot be involved in that decision. You have to leave that to the dice, okay? And you have to make that die roll open, right? So that's another thing. Killing player characters is not for game masters who fudge. If you fudge a die roll, then I do not fudge die rolls ever. I 100% disagree with Gary Gygax on this one point. I do not ever fudge rolls. All of my rolls are out in the open. So if you are a game master who fudges dice rolls, you should never kill a player character. And the reason why is, if you fudged one single die roll, then what's to say you shouldn't fudge the die roll that's going to kill their character? There's nothing to say that. Dice have to be respected at the table. When a player character rolls a die in my game, it's going to have consequences. They're going to kill one of my non-player characters. They're going to gain a certain amount of gold. It's going to matter. Dice matter. They absolutely matter, right? And I respect every die roll at my table, including my own. I do not fudge. ever. I fudged when I was about 14 or 15 years old. When I fully understood the game, I said, no way, this is crazy. You know, there's too much on the line. Fudging dice is wrong. So in order to properly kill a player character, you cannot ever fudge dice. You must warn them multiple times. You must give them an escape plan that they refuse. And you must take that decision to kill their character out of your own hands and put it onto the dice themselves. And you must give your players the option to put themselves into danger in a position where they will die. So, you know, David's character died an epic death. I'm comfortable with how that came out. I'm proud of him as a player for handling it the way he did. He handled it with a lot of courage and a lot of class. I know he was sad. I was sad about it too. But you can't, you don't get really cool, epic happenings in your game unless things are getting risky and you're really putting some dice down, you know? And so that is how you properly kill a player character. Thank you.